Hi and welcome back to AFTV and welcome to another live. I'm joined with Turkish. Turkish, my guy, how are you?
All good, bro.
I'm having a funny day today. I've really enjoyed today. I filmed a predicted 11 video with James. Guys, make sure you check that out. It was a mess, I'll be honest. It was a car crash, but it was a good car crash because it was hilarious. So that'll be coming out on the channel, so make sure you look out for that predicted 11 video on AFTV. And it's off the back of Robbie and James getting the predicted 11 right for the Europa League game. So I'm trying to keep the standards, but just a car crash. But look out for that. And then also just little things, Turkish. Like I watched Mikel Arteta's press conference today, and I've got a little clip because he mentions about last season and how he pulled up a tweet from Ivan Toney, and they asked him in the press conference. They just made me laugh, and yeah, just take a look at this.
We saw in the Amazon documentary for the Brentford game at home last season that you used the tweet from Ivan Toney after the first game to try and motivate your players. Will you have any sort of similar team talk in your mind going into the game this weekend?
I haven't write the script yet for that one. I'm sorry.
Do you think you might use sort of the circumstances?
If you have any ideas, just give it to me. I'm running out of ideas.
Now normally, yeah, because normally his press conferences are pretty mundane and very professional. He's very, you know how he is. He knows how to speak and how to work the media. But that did make me laugh. He had a little smile there. He said he's running out of ideas. If the media see anything, I'm sure Twitter as well will be going crazy this weekend of what, you know, Mikel Arteta is going to say to the boys on the weekend. But yeah, just having a really funny day and enjoying some of the laughs. But let's actually talk about, before we go into all of the news, obviously, Manager of the month, Mikel Arteta, just Brentford. I
like the way, hold on the Tony thing. I like that he used that in the.
You think that was you? Okay.
Yeah. I know, like obviously.
It's old. Is it old school? Is that an old school sort of thing?
With the, you know, the "you'll never walk alone" stuff. We know what we think about it, but in terms of using disrespect from opposition players in particular as motivation to go and get the job done, I think that's, you know, if I'm in the change room and my manager's saying, look at this and look at how he spoke about you, or look at how they spoke about you, is this you, do you want to prove him or them wrong? Yeah, I think that's a very good motivator.
No, it very much is. And do you know what, even with that, I think this weekend they might need a little bit of riling up, because Ivan Toney's in great form at the moment as well. Someone actually definitely to worry about, I think, come this Sunday. But yeah, no, it is good for Mikel Arteta that he does those little things. Is that an old school sort of thing to look at kind of disses from other players or other clubs to say, you know, this is what you should be reacting to, this is what you should be trying to prove wrong? Even the Bruno Gomares, when he went Newcastle, and what he did when his welcome video as kind of a dig at Arsenal, and what he did against us last season. Yeah, I hope Arteta does continue this, because I like it as well, if I'm completely honest. But your thoughts just quickly before we go into the news today. Brentford, how are you feeling? I mean, I put a tweet out on Twitter to say, are people worried? Like, what's the kind of mood of Arsenal fans? Like, because, listen, before the international breaks come in, and I think that they're tough opposition. It's not going to be taken light. They've got some injuries, which we'll get into later. But yeah, are you worried, or are you thinking this should be job done?
No, it's not job done, and it's not worried. I'm somewhere in between. I think it's a difficult game for sure. Brentford are a good side. They're at home. I just feel like, I said it on Box to Box, historically in the past few years, let's say, even longer than that, you know, we don't react well to losses, or we don't react well to, you know, last season we bounced back well from defeat, but it tended to be 2 defeats, a draw, and then we'll bounce back and we'll go on a little run. I just feel like this one is a big one in terms of international break is coming, so there's going to be 2 weeks. Our last Premier League game was a loss to United. I really wanted that Everton game, because I think that would have been not a walk in the park, but I think that would have been a perfect game for us to bounce back at home against a poor Everton side that really people talk about their recent good form, but I think it's 3-4 1-1s in a row. That's their recent good form. So that game would have been very different to this one. I would have said, you know, job done for that if we played it in any way similar to the United game. Brentford smoked United.
Like
they smoked Leeds 5-2. You know,
good goals from Toney there as well. He dinked the keeper on the penalties. He's only missed 1 penalty, Ivan Toney, actually. It's just a little stat there for you guys. But yeah,
he's made the England side, so he's going to be gassed. He's going to be the game before international break. He's going to want to do something. He caused problems last year. It was him that used that tweeted that, and now he knows that Arteta used that tweet.
He's going to be pumped for this game, you know.
But Brentford will be pumped in general, because it's Arsenal. And when we first spoke to them last season, and I spoke to Billy, the big Brentford fan. He wanted Arsenal because of the prestige of it. He last season, their first game. So you know, they, in terms of Brentford and their fan, they know what Arsenal are and have been in the past, and it's a big game for them. So they're going to be pumped up for it. But definitely, I'm not worried, but it's definitely not job done. That's why I predicted 1-1.
You predicted 1-1?
Yeah.
Not a win. That's obviously, I guess pessimistic side, but I wouldn't have. I didn't expect you to go with that. I thought
But the thing is, it's not. Is it pessimistic? I'm just trying to. I base.
Is that what you see? Yeah. What are you based off? Because
I said historically we tend to kind of not bounce back straight away.
Right.
So let's see mentally if we get over that Man United good performance but a loss at the end of the day.
Would you agree that this is a very important game to bounce back, considering we go on a break and then that October run is the North London derby and it's just mental. So this needs to be, for me as a fan, I want to see the side definitely bounce back, and obviously you want to see your team win, but it's quite imperative considering we're going to enter a break and then go into a hard run.
Tottenham should beat Leicester, and that's the day before we play. So potential, and I think Man City should beat Wolves, even though that's a difficult away game. I think they should beat Wolves, and you know, Haaland's just banging in goals for fun.
Yeah.
So by the time we play Brentford, we'll probably be third in the league potentially. And I'm not sure about who's fourth, fifth, and who else might be, but I don't think anyone else can. So Tottenham City could be above us. So there's going to be. It's not immense pressure where it's April or it's March, and you know, teams going above you, and you need to. We need to win if. You know, we want to kind of go into that international break forgetting completely about the United result, because even a draw for me, yes, later on in the season you might look back at it and look back at Brentford's home results against United, Chelsea, City, Liverpool and say, well, it was a good point.
Yeah.
A point still in the last two games makes it a point out of two. So in the international break before Tottenham, there's going to be, you know, doubts 100%. Creeping in. And in the first 5 games of the season, there was no doubts at all because we was playing well and getting the result. So hopefully, just to stop the noise around that Man United result, which is still about now because we haven't played again since, hopefully to stop that noise, we go to Brentford and we win again.
Yeah.
We beat Palace away, which in my opinion is the tougher away fixture.
100%.
We beat Bournemouth away, 2 clean sheets.
Simple, yeah.
I think if we go and beat Brentford as well, that puts us in a very good position heading into October. Very good.
Yeah. Are you going to be shouting like Gunnar Lee did to the Man United fans, like, "Oh, we've beaten good teams if we beat Brentford away"? Or is gonna? It is a difficult Brentford. It is a difficult fixture, but yeah, for me, 1-1. Someone said there, not pessimistic. That is realistic. But I expect the boys to get the job done. I know James did predict 2-1, and I'm edging towards that, especially, like I said, the international break after it. I think the boys should be fully up for it, especially I see a comment as well here in the chat that says revenge time, and payback time, sorry. And they're right. I think it's a game that I should be ticking off and saying, this should be get the job done. Keep that away record. Bar Man United, keep it clean, and yeah, man, I'm very much looking forward to it. You're going to be there as well, which will be nice. I'm going to be there as well, but hopefully they do get the job done. Now, before we go into the main news of the day and discuss Mikel Arteta, but being the manager of the month of August, Arsenal winger Marquinhos has been included in the 40-man shortlist for the 2022 Golden Boy Award. I just want to high highlight this and just have a discussion on Marquinhos quickly. He has been looking very good. Obviously, been signed for £3 million. His 19-year-old looked to be a player for the future. However, I mean, he's been in under-23s doing really well. Under-21, sorry, he's been scoring, assisting, been involved in Europa League, played really well as well. It's not a headache. I wouldn't say it's a headache for Mikel Arteta, but he's knocking on the door, Marquinhos, and some fans might be saying, you know, he should be being on the first team bench. He can be utilised here in the first team. Whether that be Premier League or cup competitions is another debate. But have you been impressed with Marquinhos so far? And do you see him edging his way somewhat into the side, or do you think, you know, we have enough depth with Martinelli, Saka, and these sort of players?
I didn't watch the under 23.
Of course.
So all I know of him so far is that Zurich game.
Yeah.
And it was a good performance. I think it was over exaggerated by some, but he was man of the match, and it was a good performance. And he showed moments that, you know, he can build on, and he's still very young and he can develop. Saka needs a break here and there.
Yeah.
Cup competitions in particular, especially League Cup and Europa League. For now, I expect to see Marquinhos. FA Cup, depending on the teams we face or we're drawn against, and that doesn't come until January, I believe. So that's still a little while away. But in the Premier League, 20-30 minutes to go. You know, I know Eddie's been utilised quite a bit from the bench this season. Emil Smith-Rowe, when he's fit, He's someone that can come off Fabio Vieira. But I think Marquinhos needs to be added to that potential. If you need a goal, if you need something different, if you need to maybe take Saka out, he gets thumped a lot every game.
He does. Saka, he's a very targeted player. He is.
So I feel like I'm surprised he's on the 40-man shortlist, because coming into
there's some big players on there. Sorry to cut. There's like Jude Bellingham's on there. There's Musiala.
How did he get onto that though? Because I'm sure before Arsenal he didn't really do a madness.
It's because it's literally and you don't get selected on a shade, I believe, within Europe, and it was after I guess from literally that Europa League game is when I read it was only since then he's been put into that. So I have it here somewhere as well. Let me just pull it up.
That's madness though.
It's crazy, isn't it? Just from there, I think the minutes he played from there.
Marquinhos wasn't included in the original 100-man shortlist. Yep.
Likely because he wasn't playing in Europe at the time, so we have to assume it's his 69 minutes on the pitch have been enough to see him jump the queue. Mental, isn't it?
Yeah, that's mad.
So yeah, but that is that. I mean, it's an honour to be on the Golden Boy shortlist. As I know it sounds large because it's 40 man on there, but if you look at the names, if you guys go and check the names, there's a lot of good young talent on there, and to be included in that, especially with what you just said there, with the 69 minutes he's played. It's an achievement. So big up to Marquinhos, and I would like to see him on the bench. I don't expect him to be right now in the Premier League playing, getting a few minutes, but only small minutes. I think he's going to be perfect for cup competitions like the Europa League and the FA Cup and cups like that. So big up to him, because I think he's kind of pushed on his progression very quickly. Instead of sitting in the under-21s and playing, he's causing a problem for Mikel Arteta, which I like to see. And like you said there, Saka, I don't want to see another burnout from Saka. There's always a lot of eyes and a lot of pressure on him, so it'd be nice to have some depth in that position.
I know everyone's vexed about White not being selected. I would have liked Saka not to be selected for England as well, because I think, just give him a break. He's definitely going to the World Cup. He's definitely going to the World Cup.
Is the World Cup good for players? I asked this with Laurie. I want to say World Cup, actually international breaks or international games. That includes the friendlies and all that. I don't want to just put it on the World Cup, because World Cup's obviously a massive achievement, one for the players and whatnot. But internationally playing for your country, is it a good thing? Do you see it as a good thing?
I'd be very proud to represent Turkey or Republic of Ireland if I was a footballer. Very proud. I can't lie. But I feel I've mentioned with England in particular, since I've been live, maybe one tournament, Euro 96, is probably the only tournament that England's players have come out with credit, with good morale, with good headlines. And to be honest, even that one, I was very young, so to be honest, the way they went out, I assume there would have been some backlash then as well. But even last year, England reached the final.
Yeah.
In my lifetime, that is probably the furthest, not probably, it is the furthest they've reached. Yeah. And still, off the back of it, after that final whistle's gone, or the penalty shootout, of course, people are sad and upset. But then what happened to the players on top of that?
Yeah, it's awful.
Kind of had an effect, or could have had an effect.
No, I believe it did.
I think that even back in the day when English players didn't get selected from Arsenal, or the media had a problem that Arsenal didn't have any many English representatives in the squad, I didn't really mind too much, because the way the media is over here, and you could say social media now too, because that's been added in compared to back in the 90s and 2000s. Yeah. That's the way it is even if you make a final, you could leave that tournament low and losing a final, you're going to be low on morale, but you don't expect people to really be jumping on your back. And racism itself is mad. I just don't understand how England players not England players in particular, but it is generally like the bigger nations, like England, France, Germany. Yeah. There's a lot of pressure. There is. So when look at what happened with Ozil in Germany. Mm-hmm. In the end, when push comes to shove, if you're not winning anymore, then look what happens. Yep. So I just feel like, I'd rather our players not selected. I know people say, it can affect their morale. They want to play for England or France or Germany or whoever it is. But I'm just like, listen, I support Arsenal.
Arsenal Football Club.
I support Arsenal. We haven't had a Turkish player that plays for the national squad, so I haven't cared much. It is what it is.
It's a good way to look at it. Fair enough. I wanted to get your opinion on that, as it is very interesting. Let me quickly read this super chat here from Konstantin, who says, I hope I got to pronounce that right.
Konstantin, yeah.
Konstantin says, big up Turkish, speaking the truth. We just beat Brentford because of our record versus top six and our fixture list, but it will be a tough game.
We just beat Brentford because of our record. It's not fixtures, but okay. So he's thinking we just beat them, maybe a 2-1 or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
A few people predicted 2-1. James and Lee predicted 2-1 on Forever Arsenal.
Yeah, I think it'll be.
That indicates that people think it's going to be a tight game. A 2-1 win is, you know, it can be a 2-1 either way. Them sort of games. So.
Yeah, I think that's down to as well. Again, like people, the Ivan Toney effect. He's started.
It'll be massive
so well.
if we get the job done. Basically,
it will be. It'll be especially considering there's a break after as well, and then like I keep mentioning, the run of fixtures in October. It'd be good for the side to get a win in that game. Let me go into today's top big news as well. Arsenal boss Mikel Arteta has won Barclays Premier League Manager of the Month for the month of August. Just to give you guys a recap, obviously of that month, we went unbeaten. Obviously started the season against Palace away, which I mentioned just briefly. 2-0 win under the lights, first game of the season, and as much as other fans don't want to give us credit for that, I'm sorry, that is a difficult fixture. That was set up for Arsenal to lose and be a laughing stock and whatnot. So for me, that was a big one for me, and then from there I was quite confident. We went on to beat Leicester 4-2 on the 30th of August, and then Bournemouth away 3-0, which was a beautiful game. That was really good football from the boys as well. That was on 20th of August. Beat Fulham 2-1, good game. Came back as well in that game on the 27th of August, and Aston Villa again 2-1 on the 31st of August. So that's 5 wins there and 13 goals from Arsenal. Manager of the month, very much deserved. We will sit on top of the Premier League as we are right now. Big up Mikel Arteta. I think I think he was changing a lot of people's minds from before this start of the Premier League. I think the All or Nothing documentary helped. I think him taking big calls in the Aubameyang situation and what he wants changing the culture of the club. And at first, people don't like change, and they probably put their backs up and was calling for Mikel Arteta's head, especially with some of the results of last season. But currently and of now, I think a lot of fans are kind of with Mikel Arteta and are liking what they're seeing. Well, that's me definitely personally, and very much deserves the recognition for the Barclays Premier League Manager of the Month of August. Obviously, there's a curse that everyone talks about. No manager really wants the Manager of the Month, because afterwards they lose a run of games. Arsenal, if you guys remember correctly, after Mikel Arteta got Manager of the Month, he lost the next 3 games. Hopefully that doesn't happen. And that curse is broken this Sunday. But Turkish, thoughts on Mikel Arteta so far. Where are you at right now? Because if I'm honest, last season, you gave him a lot of praise. When he deserved it, you were there. You were there giving him 10s in player ratings. You were speaking very highly of him. I think it was very fair in your analysis of Mikel Arteta through last season. And always give the credit where credit's due. So where are you right now? Because it does seem, even though we did lose our last game, quite positive around the Mikel Arteta.
Yeah, that's why Sunday's so big, in it, because you don't want to double up on disappointment,
right? And
that's what it will be after the United game. And I think, again, listen, I said going into the season, I said 5 wins out of 5, and you and a lot of others said, oof, there's Palace away is a difficult one, and I didn't disagree. No, okay, I didn't disagree.
Cool.
My thing was that 3 years into the process, you should beat Palace.
So why do you not think that about Brentford? Why do you not think that about Brentford?
That's what I was about to say.
Okay, cool.
We should. And that's why it'd be very disappointing if we don't.
Yeah.
And even a draw will be doubling up on disappointment. But later on in the big scheme of things, you might look back and say a draw's good because look at what Brentford done against the other big teams. But
context.
But that's context then. And the context now is I still feel like Brentford they're relative. Well, not really. They are new boys in the league. They've had a season, but I feel like, listen, we're Arsenal. If we're headed in the right direction, then anything but a win, even away at a ground like Brentford's, I think would be disappointment.
Yeah.
But again, if you don't win, take the point. That's what good teams do. Be resilient. Like I think even at 1-1 against United, I know there's a lot of criticism of Arteta maybe not managing the game appropriately at that 1-1 period, and maybe going a bit too gung-ho on it and attacking too much. But even us fans, I was sitting here watching it at 1-1, I thought, we should go and win this game. In hindsight, I would have taken a 1-1 because we lost 3-1. Yep. So it's all, take a point, but we'll see how it goes. At the end of the day, we should be going there to win. A point would be disappointment, but let's not mess about. Let's bounce back from the United game. And Arteta in general, I feel like it's a big test for him.
Yep.
Partey should be back.
He should be, yep.
which will be big because you can see the drop off in quality. It doesn't mean I'm overly confident about the Brentford game, but I think the kind of no excuses. We've got the squad there. We're ready. We've had a little break as well, so you know.
So with the players available, you believe this Arsenal side with Mikel Arteta, he should be getting the job done. You said that Thomas Partey's been pictured training. He should be available. There is some injuries which we will get to, but with Mikel Arteta, you think that the job should be done with what we have.
Against Brentford.
Yeah.
Okay. It should be.
Yeah. No, I agree. But yeah, the Mikel Arteta, I think the manager of the month was a justified reward, and he's, like I said, proven a lot of people wrong, and I am excited to see where we go this season. I'd like to know what your minimum requirement is right now for this season from Mikel Arteta. I don't know if you've aired it at all on any of the shows. I know you do a lot of content around, obviously, the club and Mikel Arteta, but minimum requirement for you where, I don't want to say calling for his head and saying, get Arteta out, because I don't like that. I don't know that sort of mindset towards a manager. But what do you expect from him? What should he have his criteria for? It should be top 4 guaranteed. Should there be a cup this season?
It has to be top 4. It has to be Champions League football, let's say.
Yeah.
Whether that's top 4 Europa League, it is what it is. At the end of the day, still, if you win the Europa League, is success. If you get in via top 4, 3rd or 4th, that's not success. That's the next step. They're both the same next step, but at least with one you get a trophy and the other you finish 3rd or 4th.
So one you deem success because you get the trophy.
Of course, trophies are success. Yeah. A 3rd, 4th place is not success. It's a step into a tournament we haven't been in. Or for other teams, it's a step back into a tournament they're consistently in. That's all it is. If you don't win the league, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, not much difference. You get entry into Champions League. Who gives a shit? That's the only difference. It's not success. And Liverpool fans will tell you that. When you're up there challenging like Arsenal, United, Rowe when I was growing up, finishing 2nd even though you're far off 3rd and you've had a great season.
Yeah, it's nothing to shout about.
You forget. You try and forget about that season as soon as it ends.
Yeah.
Because you're used to not used to, but you've seen your club win it.
Yeah.
And finishing 2nd is no longer like
2015,
a feeling of
season. We tried and forget that one because we should have won it that year. But
forget it. Like managers of the month and players of the month. I don't care.
Yeah, true.
It's not for me. Even back, and they're saying about Arteta, even back in the day with Wenger when we was winning titles and stuff, I don't care who's manager of the month. I don't care who's player of the month.
Yeah.
It's nice for them, and it's good. Golden boots and play. It's all good. Nice.
Yeah.
I care about what the club's doing and what the club's winning and where we're going as a club. So well done, Mikel, for it was a given. He was the only manager to win all his games.
Yep.
And I don't know about what this curse is, but hopefully it doesn't strike. But aside from that, a lot. I think that, because some of our younger fans are so starved of real success from Arsenal, that things like this have become maybe a bit more blown out of proportion.
True.
Manager of the month, nice. We move. We're in another month now.
And maybe because you're in this sort of capacity as well, where you have to kind of analyse what's going on with Arsenal's why you might see a lot of the online stuff, like you say, is blown out of proportion, but you're seeing a lot more of it. I don't know how you were before you was here, if you was all over Twitter as much and whatnot, and the socials and the media, but yeah, that's why it might be for you. You might see it more and think why it might be blown out of proportion. I don't know, but that's how I feel like that's been in the
heads down. Like I said before, I want to move in silence. Things like this, then they go on Twitter and it's like it's a mad thing, retweets, everyone's quote tweeting it saying, "See, look at this, what do you?" And it's just like under the radar. Let's just do our thing. And just, do you know what? We don't make it better for ourselves as a club, I'm saying, because Manager of the Month, Mikel Arteta, has just been awarded. You saw the drop on Arsenal, the merch today of the Arteta brain and the T-shirt. I should have got an image for this, but he has the T-shirt of the drawing that he put in the All or Nothing, and they're selling it as merch now at the Arsenal Football Club. So we don't help ourselves when it comes to moving in silence, that is, people. Listen, I've talked about what the club's been about over the years. If you're going to do that, but also challenge and win and show ambition. But if you're doing that alone and trying to extort and trying to manipulate, like this drawing seemed like it went well, let's put it on a T-shirt and let's sell it. Like, okay, challenge and win at the same time, and I don't give a shit what you sell. Cool. But if you're just trying to take the piss and you're not doing it in the other, what matters to me, then I don't care what you're doing over there. So let's not keep our eye off the ball. It's still steps in the right direction right now. I think next season's massive because I'm looking to really narrow that gap down from the top, but we don't know what's going to happen this season to even entertain next season.
Okay, no, definitely. Now, listen, what we're going to do, we're going to go back to the super chat. I see Anthony, I see a super chat in the chat. I will come back to it, but I want to have a discussion quickly on Emile Smith-Rowe. As you may have heard, he picked up an injury, and it was at Man United where he was quite emotional about it. It's a groin strain, I believe, and it's a recurring injury. He actually got mentioned in the press conference today as well, so do check that out. And Arteta did say he was frustrated with picking up this injury. Emile Smith-Rowe, I actually really feel for him because I don't want to say he's riddled with injuries, but it's becoming, you know, a theme right now of Emile Smith-Rowe, and he definitely has abundance of talent, a great player, contributed so much last season, but we don't want to really put him in a bracket of an injury-prone player, but it is leaning towards that way. I see why he's getting frustrated because it's ahead of a big season. Obviously, he's not selected for England as well. Just your thoughts around Emile Smith-Rowe and how frustrated he was after United game with that injury as well, Turkish.
It's upsetting, man, because he in my opinion, from what I expected of Emile, he had a great season last season.
Yeah.
I think, what did he get in the end? 10 goals?
10 goals, yeah.
For an attacking midfielder / what utilised as a winger.
Off the bench most of the time as well.
Most of the time. I think he had a great season from what I thought he was to what he become. But the injuries have and I feel like he's probably looking around and looking at other young players staying fit,
100%.
Getting game time, developing, taking the limelight, scoring goals, and that's probably upsetting him as well because he might have that feeling of being left behind. Nah, that's definitely not the case yet, but the reports I read in The Athletic about it's an ongoing issue. It seems very sensitive. It seems like they don't really have a time scale and they don't really know what to do about it, but just rest it and hope for the best. That's what I'm taking from it. And for a young guy like Emile, who's at a club who who is giving opportunities to all these young players, including him, I just hope he's not in that stage of not giving up, but feeling like he's being left behind, because it's hard to come back from that with the injuries. You have to stay mentally strong.
It's tough.
So I hope he stays mentally strong because that's very important as much as his physical, fitness.
And what you said there, you mentioned about seeing other players thriving around your age group as well. It's always a pain as a player to see that. And Eddie Nketiah mentioned it. I remember in the podcast he said, I was the captain of the England under-21s and I'm seeing all the players in my squad go off and play first team for their clubs and whatnot. So Emile Smith-Rowe, I'm sure he is feeling that way, but like you just said there, obviously all the best to him. Hopefully he does recover as soon as possible and he's back playing for us very soon. He doesn't get caught in a rut, because injury is a dark place for young footballers. It is really difficult to, again, get back on the bandwagon of being that star boy in a club, especially when you're coming back from injury. So hopefully he doesn't get caught up in that and he is back firing. It is a shame to hear about that groin injury and how upset he was. Again, we wish him obviously all the best and hopefully for a speedy recovery. Just to go on to actually team news, in the press conference, Mikel Arteta was very coy. He said he won't know about the fitness of his team until tomorrow, until they assess the players before the game. They did talk about Alexander Zinchenko has picked up a fresh muscular injury, a problem, sorry. So he probably won't be available. So that kind of brings back Kieran Tierney, the player that you like. Yeah. And a player that you're definitely a fan of. That's not to say I'm not, before the people go crazy in the comments. But yeah, is there much, I asked this to James, is there much of a drop between you, would you say, in quality in putting Tierney in there over Alexander Zinchenko? Are you happy to see Tierney, hopefully secure a spot while Zinchenko is out?
Tierney's been rusty this season, but you'd expect that, having been out and the injuries and whatnot. Do we lose something? We definitely lose something. I'll be fair in that assessment, even though I love Tierney. We definitely lose something because Zinchenko aids the attack better than he does defend. I think we haven't lost anything defensively. I think defensively we're more secure with Tierney, but the overall style of play seems to be impacted since Zinchenko got that injury. Feels like we play a bit. That might have to do with Partey and him being out as well. But it's a shame because Zinchenko has quickly become an important player, it seems, for what Arteta's trying to do.
Yeah, no, okay. I'm going to go to the super chat. I've left it for a long time. So Anthony, apologies for that. We're going to come back to it. So he says, with recent questions on Wenger to Arteta and Dean, big up David Dean as well, guys. Some things happening here at AFTV, so keep a lookout for that as well. Coming your way. What do you think about Wenger coming back at a higher role? Now, I know Mikel Arteta was very, very fond of this. Turkish just gave me a look. Yeah, I know Mikel Arteta has been very fond of the idea of having Wenger back within the Arsenal walls. I'm going to go straight into your thoughts, because for me, I wouldn't mind seeing that in some capacity. I don't know what that capacity is right now. I really do not. But having Wenger around, I think it will bring something to the Arsenal side. I think that experience and what he knows of Arsenal and whatnot would be good for the young players coming through. I think it brings a sense of nostalgia as well of a certain time, and we don't really get to see many legends return to Arsenal and stay. I would love to see Thierry Henry back in there in some capacity, but that for some reason hasn't happened at all. I don't think Ian Wright, I see him pop in every now and then through Adidas, but you never really see him involved in the team, really. So it'd be nice, in my opinion, to have him there in some capacity. I see people saying no, let the past stay in the past. But where are you at with that? Because I know Mikel Arteta was kind of fond of the idea of it.
If it ended on better terms, I would have been more for it. But I just think that, well, we're not. It's not even fully. We're not past that era yet.
Okay.
Like there's still remnants like firmly in my mind of what happened and how it happened, and I just think that the Kroenkes and Wenger didn't really, form a good enough partnership for me to say, yeah, bring him back under the same regime at a time where we haven't come full circle yet. It's still very fresh. We haven't even made Champions League football back yet, let alone challenge for titles and whatnot. And when I look at what happened with Wenger, with the Kroenkes and that whole era, it makes me sick.
Yeah.
So listen, Wenger's a legend, and I think whether it's a stand or a statue, I get it. But I think right now, still with the Kroenkes in charge, it would be more of another shield in place. It would be more of another diversion.
Oh, I like. Oh, so it's a protection for the board.
When Ferguson was retiring at Man United, I'm sure Man United liked the idea of Ferguson picking their next manager. I'm sure they liked the idea of Ferguson being up there. Since then, it hasn't really helped. It's very different. You can't just say, because he's the greatest Arsenal manager, one of the greatest Arsenal managers, he should be in that position. It doesn't necessarily work.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just that's nice.
Okay, no, the Ferguson thing, you got me there. I'll give you that one, because I've been speaking to the United fans, and I always get them like, you need to get Fergie out of the building. Like, he's supposed to be having meetings with Ronaldo and that, and trying to sway things. But I feel like he's part of the problem, that you guys can't let go of him. So that trumps me a little bit. I think again, for me, I think it's just a connection I have. I liked Wenger a lot. Like many people did. Obviously, thought he held on too long at Arsenal Football Club, and I do agree with that. But big fan of Wenger's. That's probably why. That's why I'm holding on to it. But you're right. It can go the other way, and I see a lot of people in the comments saying no. People say it's a step back. I feel like he'd start falling back into the game and start trying to help too much, and what he's needed for. So yeah, it's kind of what would he do if he was here, and will it affect the way Mikel Arteta is trying to build something here at Arsenal. So I understand people's concerns and want for him not to return. But yeah, I'm just going into my nostalgia bag, shall I say. Just quickly as well, Ben White has been, in the press conference, Mikel Arteta spoke about, he's been kind of given the green light that he is available. Ben White, he's going to be, I'm assuming he'll be playing right back. Takehiro Tomiyasu, Turkish as well. Do you think Ben White, and I asked about this when I was with Laurie, him playing right back, do you think that's affected his chance as well, being selected for England as well? Do you think that is a big problem? Or do you not? Or would you not care and think, you know what, the performance has been good for us on right back, I don't care, regardless of the England selection?
It's a strong case that he hasn't played centre-back this season, but Arteta's made the point that he's played centre-back, he's made the team in that position. So what's really changed, considering since he's moved, he's done a good job as well, which offers versatility. I get that. I get the reasons there if it wasn't seeing Maguire in the side. Yeah. That's what I don't get. Do you get what I'm saying? In isolation, if all the defenders picked were on good form and they
even Connor Cody, he's
another one.
It's mad,
But there isn't. There's one that got dropped after 2 losses, and his team started winning. I think he got brought back for their Europa League game. They lost. So the 3 starts that Maguire had, they've lost. So then the Ben White playing right back argument doesn't make sense to me, because this guy doesn't even play anymore. But he made it. Cody, I just think Ben White, it's good enough to be part of the setup.
Right.
It's like I said, I'd rather him be fit and ready for North London derby. I don't care. But that's coming from someone who doesn't support England.
Okay.
I support Turkey and Ireland.
Okay, that does make sense.
And if I don't, I don't know how that feeling is, because like I said, we haven't had a Turkish player that played for the national team for me to feel like, which one is it? Do I?
But as a fan, you don't care. But for the player, I'm sure Ben White, he might be feeling a bit left out, because I think he's been in great form. He's played every game this season. I think he might. I don't know if he'll feel a certain way towards it, but I'm sure he does, because like you said, you mentioned some of the players. I mentioned some players there, Connor Cody, Maguire. He might be thinking, wow. How have I not been given a call up? I did last year, but surely with my performances, because I think he's been superb. I see some people in the comments here saying that Tomiyasu should start on Sunday. Let's just kind of let me get your thoughts right now, and people in the comments as well. Like, just give me your back line quickly. I'd be intrigued to know, because I said I would like Ben White. I think you agreed with me. I'd like Ben White to start centre back on Sunday, only because of Gabriel. I think he's been a bit shaky. Still been good, and I'm a big fan of Gabriel, but I think he's been a bit shaky. I would like to have seen Ben White there. I got shut down quickly because everyone was saying, Mikel Arteta likes a left-footed, left-sided centre-back, so that wouldn't work. But I think Ben White, the way he reads the game, I think it would be nice to see him at some point partner William Saliba as well, and I think that this could have been the game. But what are your thoughts of the backline, and people in the chat as well? Who should the backline be?
You know what? Because of the break, I feel like Gabriel's got away with his lapses in concentration and his mistakes. Because of the break now, that feels like it's a little while ago, and it's harsh to punish him this Sunday and start Ben White and Saliba, even though that's what I feel and that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
I just feel like we've kind of, with time, not forgotten, but it is what it is, and would go with the same back four.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, I feel like he needs to know that these lapses in concentration and these mistakes need to stop happening. We can play other partnerships, and I don't. It's not disagreeing with you, but I disagree with anyone that says, he needs that left-footed centre. If he does need that left-footed centre back, then we're fucked if Gabriel gets injured, right? Because we don't have another one. So that argument doesn't stand with me, because then I look back at the transfer window and say, well, where's your
left-footed centre back? So your cover.
And many teams play with two right-footed centre backs. That's not an issue. So I don't really want to hear that. I feel like, okay, we go with the same back four because of the missed game week last week, and trying to forget about Gabriel's lapses in concentration against United, the mistake, albeit he got the goal to save it. Go with the same back four, but any more nonsense? Because against United, I looked at Gabriel, and Gabriel's young.
Yeah,
but Saliba and Sambi Lokonga are younger. Yeah. And in that game, all three had parts in being exposed, especially in the two goals in the second half.
100%.
But I look at Gabriel as well in particular and say, you're the one that's been you're the senior one. You're still young, but you're the senior one. You're established here, and you can't be. You need to be the glue. You need to bring them. You need to give them the confidence. And in those games, he wasn't the glue. He nearly undone against United. He helped undo.
Yeah.
In the
Which is a bit of a worry, actually, now that you've mentioned that. Yeah, because he is the senior player. He is a bit of a worry that out of the two centre backs, he's been. And listen, we're being very nitpicky here, because don't get me wrong, I've been very impressed with centre backs, but he's been the faulty of the two, so he's been a bit of a concern. So very interesting to mention that, and again, Ben White has I think more seniority over Gabriel, but it would be nice to see at some point, like I said, him alongside William Saliba, because any more rash moments, shall we say, from Gabriel. And I know Ross Taylor in the chat just said there, Ben White against Ivan Toney, you mad, Cecil? I've seen Ben White say in an interview at some of the Arsenal websites saying that he wants revenge after that last game. He wants to put things right. It'd be very interesting. I think Gabriel can have a rash moment where the physicality from Ivan Toney might get the better of him. I don't know. We might see that. I think physically wise he'll deal with him, but mentally he could get in Gabriel's head. That's just a concern I have from what I've seen so far of Arsenal. I've got some people's back lines here as well. Timor says White, Saliba, Gabriel, Zinni. Zinni's out, so that's not going to happen. Ramsdale, obviously in goal, Tomiyasu, Saliba, Gabriel and Tierney. And I think that's kind of what they're going to go with. That's from Nathaniel Elliott's there. And then I'm going to do one more. Tariq says Tommy, Saliba, Gabby and Zinni. Obviously, I think everyone wants Zinni because the player that he is, but unfortunately he's likely to be ruled out. He might return. It might be Arteta playing games, but last I read, he might have a slight knock. Ohan says, would the top managers, Guardiola, Mourinho, etc., be top managers if they would not get the financial backing? It's a good question.
I feel it's...
I know Klopp hasn't really had the financial backing massively, and I put him as a top manager. You're going to probably go to the Coutinho sale and what he used the money in, and that's how he kind of built his Liverpool side.
Even Jose won Champions League with Porto. Pep built a Barca team. I don't remember that Barca team he built having a lot spent on it. I know Messi came through at perfect time. I know he had Puyol and was it Marquez. You know, he already had quality players around, but I'm not too sure his spending was wild. So I think in the end all top managers have financial backing, because let's use Ten Hag as an example. You do good work at a club like Ajax or Porto or Dortmund, or you know, a bigger club that like a Liverpool or a Man City or whatever will try and take you and give you that backing because they like what you've done there. Now the argument is, does what you do there at Ajax, Ten Hag, make you a top manager? I guess not, because online all they're going to say is, well, how can he be a top manager without winning so and so? But then to win so and so, generally, especially nowadays, you need the financial backing. So I think it goes hand in hand now.
Yeah, and it does. And I'm just going to relate it to Arsenal and Mikel Arteta. I mean, they've spent a lot. We've spent a lot. I mean, you can be an argument to say, is it financial backing by the players we've got? But 100% we've spent quite a lot in both windows, summer windows, and we'll get to see it. We're talking about top managers. We talk about Guardiola and the likes of Mourinho and that. It's not always about. I don't think it's always about the financial back. I mean, I've seen top managers get good performances and good success from poor teams, in my opinion. So
yeah, look, this guy said here, and that is it. Who is this?
Where's that?
Just goes to show that winning is the only thing that matters, and that is pretty much it when it comes to this. You know, yes, yes, you want to see young players come through, and you want that, and yes, you want your club to, you know, do good and help the community, and you want your club to be, you know, a good represent. Yes, but you want to win. You know, you want to win, full stop. And he's right, you know, like look at Ralph Rangnick, for example. He got all the, you know, he gets all the praises for what he does, but then if I say Ralph Rangnick or Carlo Ancelotti, people would laugh at me. If I say Rangnick or Ferguson, people would laugh. If I say, but he gets credit for what he does, but because he hasn't transferred that into management and winning the major honours, he will never be talked about as a top manager. He'll be given credit for good work, but yeah, to be a top manager, you end up at a top club, and a top club spends top money. So it either makes you or breaks you. People will say the money made you.
100%, and it applies more pressure to you, because if we look at, I know we've got a bit off topic. If we go to Graham Potter right now at Chelsea, I mean, he's going to have a lot of financial backing, but I don't think he has long to prove to the Chelsea fans that, you know, he's the right manager for that club. So again, it comes with a lot of pressure, and like you just said there, it will make you or it will break you. And it's very interesting to see. It really is, when it comes to who can survive and who can push to it. I think Pep's he's the top of that game. He knows what he wants, and he knows what players he wants, how much it costs or whatever. He's good at building systems and to get the job done. So yeah, it can make you or break you. There's certain levels of managers that know how to adjust to it and know what they want. I mean, is Conte one of those managers right now? I suppose he's one of those that needs that massive financial back into to be an elite manager.
Well, in terms of now, I've described him as an elite manager because he's won leagues in different countries. He's come in and changed things about, and he's like worked off the cuff. He didn't start well at Chelsea. He changed something after the Arsenal game. They went on to win the league. So he's shown things and won things. But then there's levels to this. You could never compare Conte to an Ancelotti or a Guardiola and so on. There's levels to it. But to be elite and to be in that debate, you need to have won leagues in one of the top countries, and you need to have essentially won Champions Leagues too when push comes to shove, and you're talking about the elite of the elite. That's why there's so much pressure on Pep right now, because you know you won it with Messi, you haven't won it since. Are you going to do it again? And that's the only knock he has on his resume. Anytime people are debating about Pep or Klopp or Pep or this, it's always that, oh yeah, didn't win Champions League without Messi. You know, even though he's done everything else.
It's true.
It's true. So to win, to be in that debate to the top elite Ferguson level managers and Ancelotti level managers, you need to have won the major runners, and to win the major runners, 9 out of 10, you need to have money.
100%. I feel like Pep as well. I know there's going to be a lot of pressure on him to win the Champions League this season with Man City as well. But I feel like, I don't know what, after seeing what Haaland and that has been doing, I feel like they've built the ultimate team, the missing pieces to the puzzle. Yes, they got picked up some draws, but I know it's from the other clubs here. But it seems like they're going to go on and do.
Their team's
something.
been better though. Their team's been better.
Their Man City side's been better than what they.
Yeah, 100%. This team might become better, but you've seen a better Man City in the past few years. Maybe not like.
It's tight.
The Aguero company, Silva, De Bruyne, Man City wasn't mad. It was mad, and them times they should have won the Champions League already. But I actually probably think they're more favourites this year because of the Haaland factor. I think they're less of
current team is mad as well.
It's not as fluid, number one, as that team. It's not as
it's the company.
It's not as entertaining as that team either for me.
Really?
Yeah, it's not as solid as that team either.
The solid is the only missing piece for me there is company, that they haven't got that sort of figure. That's the only way I'm thinking about it. I think this team that they have right now, Man City, is crazy. But yeah, that is an interesting debate. That is actually the best. They've had better Man City sides. The Aguero team was phenomenal.
Yeah,
no doubt.
But they didn't win the Champions League. So if this one goes to do it, then
Okay.
Like look, Invincibles. Yeah, a lot of Arsenal fans say the 0-2 team is better.
Yeah, that's
a lot of Arsenal fans.
Yeah, that's
but because the Invincibles done the Invincibles,
yeah,
and that's a very I'm not saying one over the other because both great teams. But what I'm saying is it's a debate. But if you really look on the outside of it, the Invincibles are the one that get lauded because they've won. They've won and achieved something that no one else has achieved.
That's true. Gunning you down says the City squad is worse than the Centurions. Interesting. 1997, 98. Team was better. I'm going to read this super chat here from Paul. Says, agree, Turkish. It applies to Arteta. If he wins trophies, he'll be regarded as a top manager. If he wins nothing but plays nice football, shows passion, and he'll be regarded as a good coach. Big up, guys. That's it.
Yeah,
that's it. It's mad. But what trophies though? We've got because if he wins a League Cup, or if he wins the FA Cup, I don't think he gets regarded as a top manager.
Let's use this example. I've heard, and you've probably heard, a lot of people, not just Chelsea fans, before he signed for Chelsea, you probably heard a lot of people say Potter's a top manager, he's going to get the next step up. Yeah. Now that is with a pinch of salt, because when you take that next step up, that's when people find out if you're a top manager.
He looks lost at the moment.
If he slips and falls and fails at Chelsea, then he will never be entertained as a top manager.
Yeah.
But because he showed something at Brighton, like a Ten Hag shows at Ajax, and I'm not saying same levels, completely different levels, but it's showing something at a team without ever winning the majors, which is harder to do.
Yeah.
It's now time to prove it. It's now time to put your name in that debate if you can, if you think you're worthy enough, and that's the challenge he has.
Yeah.
With Arteta came in with just a quote from Wenger and a quote from Pep, and that was it.
Yeah. He came in and then the thing got the FA Cup. And
of course. But I mean, the way he came in, it wasn't like people wasn't saying he's a top manager. People were saying, oh, apparently he's this, apparently he's that.
Yeah.
So and it's different.
He's been under of course. He's been with Pep. Okay, that is a very interesting. But I guess it's a lot of pressure from Mikel Arteta, especially for this season. Because I mentioned there, it depends on what trophy. Because if he picks up an FA Cup this season, I don't think people will be saying he's a top manager off the back of that. If he gets into if he wins the Europa League, or if he gets challenges, I mean, I'm not going to say challenges for time. I'm going to go ahead of myself. If he's up there, I'm going to
be honest here. Let's use Arteta as an example now. Yeah, the only way we can use it is not like coming into Arsenal. Let's say it's moving on. Let's say Arteta gets us top 4.
Yep.
This season we win FA Cup. Cool. Let's say next year we finish. Let's say the next season the gap between us and first closes to 5 points by the end of the season.
Mad.
Which is kind of like a challenge. Let's say it's a challenge for a title, yeah? And then Pep decides to leave Manchester City, and Manchester City call Arteta and they say, Arteta, you're next up, and Arteta leaves Arsenal and goes Man City and then fails to deliver, then he's out of that top manager bracket. But the work he would have done at Arsenal to get us top 4 and then get us a challenge, people will be saying top manager.
Hey, I would be, because I'll be honest, I'll be saying top manager.
But then they're judged at the pinnacle of the game, which is Champions leagues, whether it's Premier League, Serie A, La Liga.
So he goes to Man City, and then doesn't challenge in the cups, or drops out of.
If he fails to deliver. If he fails to deliver, then regardless of what he done at Arsenal,
context depends how much he fails to deliver when he's at City. I would say regardless he'll be a top manager, but yeah, people will be saying he's not if he, I don't know, say he drops Man City out of top 4.
Villa Boas. top manager. He comes in and where's he gone now? He's never reclaimed that level again. Moyes at Everton, that's a top manager. United get him. Oh, not so top after all. You know, there's so many examples of it that when you're at that club that's willing to give you everything to succeed, if you don't succeed, then you're not a top manager.
I genuinely believe that if Arteta got the opportunity, I think he would thrive though. I don't wish him away from Arsenal right now. City, chill out if you leave him. And I know, because I know there's whispers about, remember that time they was like, oh yeah, City are looking next in line, Arteta's looking next in line at City, blah, 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 after Pep. Allow that. But yeah, I think he would. I think if he had all his resources, I think Arteta, he's definitely a very good coach. I think he would do well. But listen, I'm not wishing away my manager. Like I said, stick here, Arteta. We are coming towards the end of this show. I'm going to just quickly read a comment here. Versus says, you can only be a top manager after proving it at the top. It's in the name, lads.
And that's no disrespect, because other managers, you know, you'll remember other managers for other things. Like look, for example, who was we just watching upstairs? James just showed us a video of some YouTube.
It was Neil Warnock and
Pep and Warnock.
And Warnock, yeah.
Yeah, and Warnock, I'll always remember Warnock.
He was saying the same messages.
Yeah, I'm not going to say he's a top manager, but I'll always remember him because of what he was and what he'd done, and cool. There's levels to it. It's not to disrespect people because you haven't achieved the best, but that puts you in the top manager bracket. You can still make a name for yourself and do good and have a good career without ever excelling and being remembered and stuff like that.
That's true. That's true.
I'm not disrespecting by saying that there's elites and there's only a few of them and it's hard to get into that. It's facts for me.
It is. And do you know what? The manager job is such a such a weird job, in a sense that you can be bad at your job and then pick up a new job in the same position a week or a month later. So it's a very weird position in that sense. But you're right. Just defining top is based on, I guess, success in the end when it all comes down to it. Shref, there's a couple of super chats coming in towards the end. Thank you very much. Shref says, want to know what Laurie smokes. Yesterday he picked Maguire over Ben White in UK squad. Do you know, I'm going to defend Laurie as much as I don't want. Yeah, he did say that in physicality. Didn't MG get replaced as centre back by 5'9" Lizzie in most physical Premier League? Now I'm trying to defend Laurie here, but it is difficult because he said,
I wouldn't try if I was you.
I can't believe. I tried to be like, come on, bro, and he was just trying to find an argument for Maguire, but there wasn't many.
United fans can't even find an argument for Maguire, so I don't know what he was trying to do.
There was a United fan in the chat earlier and said, he said he doesn't even get into our side, so I can't believe he's been selected for England. But it is crazy. Paul here with a super chat says, Graham Potter, Eddie Howe, Brendan Rodgers, Andre Villas-Boas, David Moyes, good managers. Pep, Jurgen, Allegri, Ranieri are top managers, ?
Then there's levels. Pep and Jurgen shouldn't be in the same sentence as Allegri and Ranieri, to be honest.
Who's in that Pep and Jurgen?
Ranieri?
Who's in that Pep and Jurgen? Are they just in another level just by themselves, or is there what? I'm sure I tend
to put Simeone in there, even though he never crossed the line with the Champions League. He made 2 finals with an Atletico side that you'd never expect that from. He won La Liga when Messi was at Barca and Ronaldo was at Real. These are massive achievements for him and Atletico. So
fair.
But it's not.
Someone said Ancelotti.
Like I think you know what? I put Simeone up there in the top 3. Allegri, for me, yes, made Champions League finals, but Juventus, it was a walk in the park for them, the league, the Champions League finals, they never crossed the line. So Allegri doesn't touch Simeone, Pep, Klopp, in my opinion. Ranieri's underrated, but again, he doesn't touch really the top, but he's underrated. Even when he got sacked from Chelsea, he was unfortunate because he finished second to the Invincibles. That's why Chelsea, in their first year of being, financial juggernauts, they didn't win the league because we went invincible. They finished second. Then they sack him and bring in Jose, and then they win the league. And it was kind of unfortunate for Ranieri, but then he got his league in the end with Leicester. So
is Jose Mourinho not? I know no one's mentioned Jose Mourinho. People are saying Ancelotti, but Jose Mourinho, obviously, his career's kind of tailed off a little bit, but will be regarded surely when he retires as a top manager. Yeah,
he had a good run, but again, he's not going to be on their level either. Yeah,
not right now anyway. Do you know what? I've really enjoyed this show in a sense that...
But he's above Allegri and he's above Ranieri.
Yeah.
But he's not Pep, Klopp.
Which I think was a fair statement, because they've revolutionised the way the game's been played. Like I just mentioned now, I really enjoyed the show because obviously we're here for the Manager of the Month, and a lot of the show is discussing managers and that topic of from the month to the best and the top managers right now. So thank you everyone again that's joined us for this live and got on your thoughts and comments in. Big up, like the video if you've liked it already, subscribe if you're new. And people, I keep saying it, I think you're probably bored of me saying it, but there's a lot coming your way from AFTV, so keep an eye out for it and stay tuned and stay part of the conversation.
Well, look, this rounds up the conversation. Turkish, a few years ago, I remember you saying you wanted a leg.
I remember that as well.
Wenger left.
I remember that.
Was he a top manager at that time? I thought he was, but he since then it seems like he's not. But that's what happens. You think a manager's a top manager, and then they get given something, and then they're not achieving, and then it quickly turns around. That's what I mean about, it changes all the time, and once you kind of lose that, what Allegri's doing now is kind of ruining what he done then.
Yeah.
Because now people are forgetting what he done then, and it's more like, oof, is he really, was he ever worthy of being mentioned as a top manager? But at the time, it seemed like he was. At the time, of course I was interested.
Yeah.
He was making Champions League finals and that. I'm looking at it like, all right, cool. Listen, you haven't crossed the line with Juventus, but
yeah, it could be good for Arsenal. Aside with a super chat to round up, says Maguire is selected for England purely because he's very good for England, in my opinion. I mean, he scores a fair amount of goals for England. But I'm going to actually end this show on HJM Stone says Cecil, loser percent chat, BU. Listen, love man. I'm gone. Hopefully Sunday we get the win. That's all I care about. Big up everyone, and thank you Turks for joining me. Guys, hit the like. I will see you again very soon. Peace out. I'm gone.